Now there's a little bit of excitement left. Strange game. I thought Iowa played their tail off. I thought it was a hard game to play and a hard game to officiate, a hard game to score. I give credit to Aaron Henry. I thought he was our best all-around player. Cassius, after just a miserable first half, did what true champions are supposed to do. He just did an unbelievable job the second half. Thought Rocket Watts made some big plays and, still some freshman errors. But the player of the game for me, without even blinking an eyelash, was Xavier Tillman. Because Xavier Tillman, the second half, guarded Garza almost by himself. And if he isn't one of the best defensive players in this league, I don't know who is. That last block he had, I think, set a Michigan State record for most blocks. What a great way to do it against a hell of a player, because I think Garza is really, really, really good. It's the most physical game that I've played in since the Gene Cady days. I thought it was, and I thought our youth and our weakness showed, because second half they just killed us on the offensive glass. And yet, we had some smaller lineups in there. We played a lot of those freshmen against what I say is a National Player of the Year candidate. And all in all, our crowd might have helped win us the game, because that second half, we talked about it in those timeouts. We got within 3, we got within 2, we took a bad shot, same old, same old, same old. Turnovers in the first half, same old, same old, same old. And then we only had 4 or 5 turnovers second half. We made some plays down the stretch. Aaron Henry made some plays. Rocket made some plays. Cassius made some plays. And I don't know what they shot, but 40%, 22 from the 3. There was the negatives were the turnovers early, and the negatives were the rebounding, but we're not as big a team. And then when we play small, we're really not as big a team. And that was a physical team that we found a way to win. And that's the biggest thing that we needed to do, and we did do it. So proud of my guys for that.
Tom, how pivotal were 2 shots? Cassius, you went right to him on the first play of the second half, and then the play where you had a 2-man game with Cassius to Tillman for a layup. How key were those moments?
Well, they were key. Cassius Winston is still one of the best players in this league, and I think one of the better players in the country. And, the first half was, it just wasn't very good. And we talked at halftime and said, if things don't change, we'll have a nice little season, win a few games, and, call it a day. And that's about the way the halftime speech went. And yet we knew, too, that, we played Xavier, 4 minutes in the first half. I was really disappointed as physical as that game went. I thought I was really disappointed in some of those things. But Xavier, man, he was a man the second half. And those other guys, Aaron Henry probably played his good all-around game. And yet, with those freshmen, we're missing cutouts, we're missing plays. We did some things wrong, but we beat a very good team. And what Kevin Paul just said to me right after the game is probably true. That was as high a level game as played here, physically, mentally, not having everybody on the same page, being out our best big guy against the best big guy maybe in the country, and we found a way to win, and hopefully that'll propel us to practice even harder, to play a little bit better, and can't say that I'm not looking forward to going to Maryland, because I am.
Coach, you kind of touched on it when you talked about the mental part. Would you say that the team has turned the corner as it relates to the mental stamina, and if so, how do you carry that into the rest of the season?
I don't think we've turned the corner. We did too many mistakes early, and I don't think we've turned the corner. I think hopefully we can look at it as this is what happened at halftime, and this is what happened the second half. And if I got to be that way at halftime to get you to play the second half, that's going to be false sooner or later. And so we'll see. But, you know, I mean, some of those turnovers too, guys cut in the wrong places. It's been interesting with all these freshmen and young guys, and then Xavier's out. So I got two guys with any experience in there. And poor Gabe and Arnie did not have very good games tonight either, but I guess if you can find a way to win when that happens, and against a real good team, there's got to be some positives in it.
Tom, you spoke about Xavier Tillman. What did you see in him that in the second half, you really didn't double team Garza, you let him go out there, and Garza only gets one attempt in the paint in the last 7 minutes?
Yeah, I'm telling you, Xavier, you know, I'm not, yes I am. I am pushing him for Defensive Player of the Year. You know, he's defended so well all year long, and he's defended guards, and, you know, today he started out, he was on McCaffrey, and we were doubling with him. He's the smartest, smart player. He's got some Draymond Green in him, and he just wanted him the second half. You know, we didn't put him on him the first half because we didn't want to get him in foul trouble. And then he gets a foul setting a screen, and the other one, I don't know. I don't know. Shut my mouth till I watch it, but I questioned it. So I just thought Xavier said to himself, you know, I don't want to go out this way, and he willed us. And even those other guys made all the plays, and they did make plays, but there's no question that he was my 5-star.
Tom, can you talk a little bit about the end of that first half after Xavier went out? Just kind of, were you in somewhat of a survival mode with that rotation, and then what you saw from Cassius coming out of the break?
Well, we were in survival mode more because of Cassius than we were because of Xavier going out. I mean, those other guys were battling, and guards have made, but we just made some of the craziest mistakes and turnovers, and dribbled into people, and did not play very well. And that's, you know, I was honest with him there. I'm honest with you now. But I will be honest with you on the other side of it. The second half was the first time, in my mind, he looked like back at the Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota game early in the year. You know, he had some pizzazz to him. He did some things. He made some great plays. He made some shots. Played better defense. So, I don't know. Maybe we got to start the game at halftime. And then at halftime, we'll have the start of the game.
I asked you about it yesterday, about Cash stepping up big when you need him most, and in these big games down the stretch. How much do you think was that a step in that direction?
Well, I hope it was, because there's no question that when I went through with all of you the number of games we've lost by 1 or 2, or with 2 minutes left, you know, we're 1 down or 2 down. And, I mean, there's pressure on him, because last year he won all those games for us. And yet some of it is, too, he had a 5th year and a 4th year senior alongside of him, and now we got 2 freshmen in diapers, you know, and they screw up a lot. You know, they do. It's not all their fault. They just make mistakes. And so, you know, what I'm looking for him to do is take over games, because that's what he did last year. And that's a lot to ask for a lot of reasons. But the second half, he took the game over, and that was pretty cool to see.
Tom, more rotation at the 4 spot tonight. Malik played 21 minutes, Bingham 13, Kathir 10. I guess, what did you make of how that went down?
Bunch of young guys that are trying to survive, you know. I mean, each one of them did some good things. Marcus did some pretty good things early, then he runs out of gas. You know, the other guy that we put in there, we thought battled pretty good, was Julius. But as I told him on the bench, you know, you can see where his conditioning. He said, well, I haven't played that much. Well, still practice, you know. And so we're still playing 4 guys there. And we had to play more because of Xavier's lack of 16 minutes in that first half. You know, so I thought they did okay, you know. We got to do better if we're going to be a real team, but they did okay, and tough situation too, because I'm telling you, that kid is is a load. I mean, and he stays down in that post a lot. When he does pop out, he can shoot it. We did a pretty good job. I don't know, did he make a three? He missed all of his threes. And it was 8 for 21. Got 9 rebounds, but he got 5 offensive, and a couple of those were on 2 of our freshmen, at least 4 of them. And they were there, they just didn't cut them out, you know. So it's been a interesting run, but now we put ourselves in a position where we get to do like an NCAA tournament. We get to work all night, and kind of looking forward. Game days out there, 16,000 people, it'll be just us. And we're going to have to be really connected, and I am really looking forward to it.
Last 4 minutes of the game, especially after that emotional high of making that run, did you see a lot of progress in decision-making, executing to finish that thing out?
Yeah, I thought it was great. You know, I thought Rocket took better shots. That one he took at the 3, he took a couple bad ones early, and he knew it. I thought Cassius, we kept the ball in his hands, and we ran some things that he didn't necessarily score down the stretch, but he made some plays, especially that one to Xavier and one to Henny. And so I thought Aaron, you know, got 2 feet in the paint and went up. He did a better job. You know, with those other freshmen, you know, we're trying to get something out of them, but it's still a work in progress. But I think games like this will help them understand why it's so important to pay attention to every little aspect of the game. That's part of the learning process that many freshmen went through, you know. I think even when we had Jaron here and guys like that, you know, into games, hard to play if you don't have any experience. So I thought we did take a big step in that respect.
Tom, so much of Cassius' struggles, I think, on the floor, we've talked about this, have been the vision and the sort of cloudiness to get it that way. When he threw that pass, like leading a receiver pass to Tillman, where he basically threw it to an empty spot, does that give you a little bit better sense, and even the 3 from the corner? And
when he threw that cross-court 1-2,
yes,
it was phenomenal. But since it's pick on Izzo, usually it's pick on Sean. How'd you like my 4-guard lineup with, I think they got 83 offensive boards against us.
They did when you were big too, so I guess it didn't matter.
Oh, good comeback, good comeback.
I mean, they have all year, to be real.
Yeah, that's a good comeback. I deserve that. Just for, I was kidding, you were serious. That's the difference. But, you know, that is what I'm looking for, and you're right. You know, we talked about the rolling. You know, our freshmen were not rolling the first half. So there's Cash out there, and they're stringing them out, and they're not rolling. Xavier rolls, boom, layup, you know. But he did throw it to a spot. It was like a quarterback and a receiver. But those two have some chemistry, you know. Those other guys, he's guessing. So, listen, some of Cassius's things that have gone on with him are because of our other players, you know. But, you know, still the focus on throwing one out of bounds or turnover early or getting too deep, I didn't see any of that second half. So, you know, I'm just going to stay with him and stay on him, because the kid's a hell of a player, and at winning time, he does special things. And I think this was the good news about this game. As you said, he made plays in the last 4 minutes. There's been some of these games in the last 2 minutes we haven't made plays.
One final one, Chris?
The other thing, there was that one, after the Iowa make, he took the break by himself and drove for the layup. Haven't seen that in a while. 24-0 on the break tonight for you guys. How critical down the stretch now is to get that component going?
That's one I did not see. But that is what we said. We thought that was our strength, our weakness, but we also thought that is what we haven't been doing, you know, getting him in the open court and pushing the ball. The first half we rebounded, I think, a little better than the first half. We got some running going, and then we got it out after makes. So the first half, you know, it was turnovers. The second half, he was making plays. And That was the biggest difference, and I thought if we would have rebounded a little better, because, I mean, they get 20 second chance points, that's $1 million against us. I mean, we're not as tough a team, we're not as big a team, we're not as strong a team, we're not as physical a team, and we played a very physical team tonight, and we didn't really totally hold our own, but we found a way to win. And hopefully that'll propel us to the next game, and who knows who will start, because every team we play right now has got different, some are big, some are small, we can go different ways. I think what's critical is we get that consistency out of Cash for the whole game. Gabe and Kyle got to do a better job. We are starting to see Aaron Henry now 4 or 5 games in a row where he's showing some signs of that. And Xavier, boy, for a guy who scored 6 points, made a hell of an impact on the game. Thank you. See you in Maryland.